On the Wednesday, May 14th episode of The Bold and the Beautiful, emotions erupt as secrets surface, hearts collide, and futures are rewritten in real time. The core of the episode is heartbreak and honesty as Liam Spencer finally allows the truth to breathe. No more hiding, no more pretending. The diagnosis he's tried to keep buried, an inoperable brain tumor, has already begun to shape his every move, his every word. But what he didn't expect was that Hope already knew. And what he couldn't anticipate was how her knowing would change everything. Hope Logan has been walking an emotional tightrope. She's been trying to hold herself together, but the cracks have been showing. Liam sees the way her eyes linger on him, the way her hands shake, the way her smile disappears too quickly. At first, he thinks she's just responding to his distance. But the truth is far deeper. She knows. She's known. And when he confronts her not with anger, but with a fragile sort of hope, she can't deny it. She breaks, quietly but completely. Yes, she knows. And no, she doesn't blame him for keeping it from her. The revelation doesn't fracture them. It binds them. Liam had feared that the knowledge of his illness would drive a wedge between them. Instead, it shatters the walls they'd both been building. For the first time in what feels like years, there are no secrets. Just pain, raw and shared, and the desperate desire to hold on to each other while they still can. Liam finds comfort in the fact that he no longer has to pretend. He can speak the truth, finally and fully. And he does. He tells her about the tumor, about the prognosis, about the doctors who tried and failed to offer a path forward. He tells her how hard it's been to imagine leaving Beth without a father. And he tells her that, in all this chaos, the only peace he's found is in her presence. Hope listens. She doesn't interrupt. She doesn't cry not yet. She just takes his hand and holds it like she's anchoring herself to the only thing that still makes sense. When she finally speaks, it's simple but devastating. She doesn't want to be apart anymore. Not now. Not when every moment matters. She doesn't want distance or caution or time to think. She wants Liam. She wants to be the person beside him when the light fades. And she wants their daughter, Beth, to have whatever time is left with her father. Their family, fractured though it's been, suddenly feels more whole than ever. What neither of them realizes is that Carter Walton is standing just outside the door, listening. Carter had just come from a meeting with Brooke Logan at Forrester Creations. Desperate and uncertain, he finally admitted what he's been holding in. He still loves Hope. He's not ready to give her up. Not after everything. Brooke, ever the romantic and fiercely loyal to her daughter's happiness, doesn't discourage him. In fact, she urges him to act. If he loves Hope, if he truly believes they have a chance, then he needs to go to her. Now, before it's too late. Carter takes her advice too late. When he arrives outside Brooke's home, the sound of Hope's voice freezes him in place. It's soft, intimate, aching with truth. She's talking to Liam, not as a co-parent or a friend, but as the love of her life. Carter hears every word. He hears Hope say the future is with Liam. He hears her insist that she doesn't want to waste another second apart. He hears the love in her voice, real, lived in, indestructible. And it hits him like a punch to the chest. She's choosing Liam. She's already chosen him. And Carter has no idea why. The tumor. The prognosis. The ticking clock. Carter doesn't know any of it. All he knows is that the woman he loves is slipping through his fingers. He came with hope. He leaves with heartbreak. Liam, unaware of Carter's presence, tells Hope he wants to spend whatever time he is left with her and Beth. Not in grief. Not in fear. But in joy, in connection, in peace. He's done hiding. He's done pretending to be strong when he feels broken. And Hope, in response, draws closer. She tells him she'll be there. Every day. No matter what. This isn't about romance. It's not about rekindling something for nostalgia's sake. It's about family. It's about showing Beth what love looks like even when the world is crumbling. For Hope, there's no more indecision. Carter fades into the background. She had thought, for a brief moment, that he might be a part of her future. But that was before. Before the truth. Before the urgency. Before she looked into Liam's eyes and remembered exactly why she fell in love with him in the first place. Carter becomes part of the past, a chapter closed not with anger, but with inevitability. But Carter doesn't disappear quietly. Crushed, shaken, and confused, he turns to the one person who's been circling him like a shadow, Daphne Rose. She's waiting, as if she knew this moment was coming. As if she's been preparing for the exact second Carter would need anyone to catch him as he falls. What begins as a conversation becomes something more. Daphne offers comfort. She offers understanding. She offers herself. Carter doesn't yet realize that Daphne's support may come at a cost. For now, he just needs to breathe, to process, to grieve. Elsewhere, Liam finds a rare moment of peace. The burden is lighter. Hope knows. She's still here. And he finally feels like he can face what's coming without shame. Steffi, for her part, quietly steps back. She was the one who told Hope about the tumor, and Liam figures it out quickly. But there's no anger. He understands why she did it. It was the right thing. He's even grateful. It forced a conversation that needed to happen. One he didn't have the strength to start on his own. As the episode closes, the lines are drawn. Hope stands firmly at Liam's side, choosing love, truth, and family. Liam, despite the clock counting down, feels more alive than he has in weeks. Carter, devastated by what he's heard and still unaware of the full context, begins to spiral into a new kind of vulnerability, one that Daphne is more than ready to exploit. Brooke, watching all of it unfold, begins to realize that sometimes love doesn't follow logic. Sometimes it's just timing, fate, and the truth that surfaces when there's no time left to hide. And as the sun sets on May 14th, The Bold and the Beautiful sets the stage for its next emotional crescendo, because while the truth may bring clarity, it also brings consequences. And in this world, no one escapes the fallout. At the Cliff House, tension ignites like a spark on dry wood as Steffi Forrester unleashes her fury, her voice echoing through the walls, cutting through the calm like a blade. "You don't get to come here," she snaps, her words aimed directly at Luna, who stands trembling just beyond the threshold. Finn tries to mediate, his voice steady but firm. "I told her the same thing," he says, standing beside his wife, but not shielding her. Luna, visibly shaken yet desperate, pleads for just a few minutes with her father. She doesn't want chaos. She doesn't want drama. She just wants time. But Steffi isn't moved. "You had your minutes," she fires back, eyes flashing with betrayal and rage. Then, without hesitation, she physically pushes Luna back, slamming the emotional door as hard as the physical one. Luna, reeling, tries to explain. "I'm sorry. I really am," she says, voice cracking under the weight of her sincerity. But Steffi isn't interested in apologies. Some things, she says coldly, aren't fixable with a sorry. There's finality in her tone, a declaration that Luna's presence in their home, in their lives, is no longer welcome. Steffi sees Luna as dangerous, unstable, and most importantly, as someone who crossed lines that cannot be uncrossed. Luna's pleas fall on deaf ears. She knows what she's done. She knows she has to carry it. But that doesn't change the ache in her chest, the hollow need to reconnect with the father she feels slipping further away with every passing second. Pushed out of one life, Luna retreats into another. She finds herself at the restaurant where Deacon is wrapping up a tense and unfinished conversation with Sheila. She keeps her distance, hiding just out of sight. She doesn't want Deacon's sympathy, not now. When the coast is clear, she approaches Sheila. The dynamic shifts. Luna is no longer the wide-eyed girl caught in scandal. She's starting to harden. There's anger underneath her words. Bitterness. She tells Sheila the truth, the sharp and painful truth. Steffi came home, and everything fell apart. Every small step Luna had taken toward building something with Finn was burned to the ground the second Steffi walked back through that door. Sheila listens, calculating. Luna isn't just venting. She's mourning a loss, a father she can't reach, a connection she no longer has. But there's more. There's a simmering sense of injustice. Luna blames Steffi not just for banishing her, but for destroying any hope she had of family. In Sheila's presence, Luna's rage is no longer a liability. It's fuel. Back at the Cliff House, the air is thick with the aftermath. Steffi stands at the window, still rattled by the confrontation, but unwavering in her stance. She turns to Finn, who remains quiet, reflective. He hasn't said much since Luna left. Not because he agrees, but because he's torn. That's his daughter. But he's also Steffi's husband. And Steffi? She's done making apologies for protecting her home. If you want to see her, Steffi says, surprising Finn. But make sure she understands the boundary. It's not a threat. It's a promise. Steffi won't stand in the way of Finn's relationship with Luna, not completely. But she won't allow Luna back into their lives, not after everything that's happened. And especially not while Steffi still feels the lingering danger of Luna's actions hanging in the air like smoke from a fire that was never fully extinguished. The conversation pivots, uncomfortably, when Steffi brings up something heavier, something darker. She tells Finn that Hope now knows the truth about Liam's condition. Finn freezes. Liam didn't want anyone else to know, he says, his voice low but sharp. He reminds her that Liam asked for privacy, that he didn't want his diagnosis used as emotional leverage. But Steffi stands her ground. Hope needed the truth, she says, unapologetic. She isn't naive. She knew what telling Hope would unleash the flood of emotions, the inevitable shift in loyalties, the reevaluation of everything. But she did it anyway, because she believes it was right. Hope deserved to know that Liam, the father of her child, is dying. Hope deserved a chance to be there for him, to decide how she would navigate the remaining time they had together. And as much as Finn disapproves, as much as he wants to protect everyone from the hurt, Steffi knows what it means to live with regret. She wasn't about to let Hope carry that. What Steffi doesn't see, what no one sees yet, is the chain reaction her choice has already triggered. Liam and Hope are talking again, not just talking, but reconnecting. Not in small talk, not in obligatory co-parenting conversations, but in real, vulnerable ways. Hope is clinging to the truth now, and Liam is letting her in like he hasn't in years. The wall between them has crumbled, and with it, the future Hope once imagined with Carter is dissolving. That future never had the gravity of what she shares with Liam. And now that time is running out, every second feels urgent. Every word feels permanent. Liam, once terrified to burden Hope, now finds solace in her presence. The idea of saying goodbye becomes slightly less unbearable knowing she'll be the one beside him. He starts to speak more openly about what he wants to be with Beth, to create memories that will live long after he's gone, to know that when he closes his eyes for the last time, he'll do it holding onto the people he loves most. Hope becomes his anchor, and she embraces that role without question. Meanwhile, Carter finds himself in freefall. He's already devastated after overhearing Hope pledge her future to Liam. But now, learning about Liam's condition, the inoperable tumor, the limited time, everything clicks into place. The heartbreak intensifies. Carter thought he was fighting for love. Instead, he was standing in the middle of a tragedy he didn't even know was happening. His attempts to win Hope back were never going to succeed. Not when the father of her child was dying and holding onto the only love he had left. Wounded, aimless, Carter seeks out the one person who's always been there in the background, Daphne Rose. Their relationship, always undefined, begins to shift. Daphne is no longer just a confidant or a casual flirtation. She's becoming something more. Something dangerous. Because Daphne doesn't just offer comfort. She offers validation. She fans the flame of Carter's bitterness. She whispers that maybe Hope never really loved him. That maybe she used him. That maybe he deserves better. Carter listens. And in that moment, something shifts. The Hope he once knew becomes a symbol of disappointment. The future he once imagined dies quietly, replaced by something darker, more bitter. Daphne sees her chance. She steps into the space Hope left behind, not just to console Carter, but to mold him into something new, something useful. Something angry. As the dust settles on a brutal, emotionally charged day, every character finds themselves on a new trajectory. Luna, rejected and furious, is increasingly drawn toward Sheila, whose influence only grows. Finn is caught between his wife's protection and his daughter's need. Steffi stands firm in her role as guardian of her home, even as her decisions ripple outward with unintended consequences. Hope clings to Liam, preparing herself for the goodbye that's coming and maybe, just maybe, the reconciliation that might bloom before it does. Liam, no longer hiding, faces the final chapter of his life with clarity, courage, and love. And Carter, heartbroken and blind to what's really happening, begins to follow Daphne down a path that could turn his heartbreak into something far more destructive. Because in the world of the bold and the beautiful, every decision opens a door. Every secret comes with a cost. And every broken heart, if left untended, can become the spark that sets everything ablaze.